Hi and welcome back to another Amazon selling video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Nikki Kirk and I'm currently sitting in my fifth wheel RV in a state park in Oklahoma because hopefully by the time this video comes out we will have moved the RV to the property, ranch, farm, not sure what I'm calling it yet, but the property we purchased last year and we can finally move on it. Fingers crossed. I've also been selling on Amazon for 5 years now and I do 95% of it as retail arbitrage, which is when I go into stores like Walmart, Target, Ollie's, purchase items and resell them on Amazon. Now retail arbitrage covers all different things, like I could be selling it on Poshmark or on eBay and it's still retail arbitrage. Amazon is just the platform I choose. About 5% of the time I also do online arbitrage. Since I travel in a fifth wheel all over the country, it's a little harder to get mail, so I haven't been doing online arbitrage as much as I will, hopefully now that I kind of have a home base. But anyways, so I don't really do a lot of online arbitrage, but when the community members asked, are lead lists worth it? I thought, wow, that's a great idea. Let me test with some other community members and we'll all test different lead lists and see, are they worth it? Now, if you like this video or any of my videos, please subscribe to my channel because it helps YouTube know that this content is good and it will hopefully spread it out to other people and I can help some other sellers. So if you like it, subscribe. That will really help me out a lot. Thank you. So what is a lead list? There are a bunch of different kinds of lead lists out there, but typically they tend to be online arbitrage specific. What it is companies will put together these lists and sell them to sellers, and it's lists of products that they have combed through the website you're purchasing it or sourcing it from, as well as the Amazon listing, and they should match up and they will tell you like this one will make this much profit, it costs this much, and it's got links to the stores and all of that. Typically the service they're using to do this is Tactical Arbitrage, which is a software that combs websites and you put in the parameters of what website you want to look for and it'll pull up the matching listings on Amazon. Now there's a steep learning curve to it, so sometimes maybe it's more beneficial and a cost savings because Tactical Arbitrage is expensive to just go ahead and purchase a lead list from a seller. But if you would rather someone else do it for you, well, that's what a lead list is. Now, another form of lead list would be like my Retail Arbitrage Bolo group. So this is a list that we put together based off of what everyone in the group is sourcing real-time in stores purchasing. So every time I go out sourcing, I'm sharing leads in the group and other sellers are as well, and they have to meet the certain requirements. And altogether that makes a lead list which you can go and use and look for the products. So that's one type of lead list, retail arbitrage, and then mostly online arbitrage. We tested 5 different lead lists for this video, and I'm going to timestamp them all below because this might be a longer video as I go through all the different lead lists. One of the things that you want to watch no matter what lead list you purchase is how many people are getting that same lead list. Because of the nature of online arbitrage, it's really so much more important for that aspect because online, anyone can go, right? Anyone with a computer or a device online, they can find that item. When you're doing retail arbitrage, the stores in your area are specific to your area. The people who are selling are specific to your area. It's a whole lot different ballgame than online arbitrage. So it's highly important when you purchase a lead list to know how many people are they putting it out to, because that's going to tell you how saturated and how good that lead really is. If a lot of people are buying it, that lead is going to probably tank in price as many things do on Amazon, and so it's not really valuable anymore. So that's one thing you really want to watch out for and look at up front. How many people are they selling it to? Okay, so the test parameters for this again it was for the entire month of January. So these testers committed to really giving a go at this list, combing through it and looking at it for the entire month of January. I asked community members to 1, volunteer to be a part of it, and 2, tell me what lead lists they really wanted to like try out themselves. So it's a combination of lists that they wanted to try as well as a Google search on my part because honestly I was not super familiar with all these lead lists. Again, I don't do online arbitrage all that much, so it was Google and that, and I have absolutely no affiliation with any of these companies at all. So if the members who tested it do, I'm unaware of it. So this is just totally, hopefully unbiased opinions, and I'm going to tell you what all the different testers had to say. Like I mentioned, we tested 5 different lead lists. It was OA Beans, OA Loot, FBA Buy List, The Happy Hustlers, and West Coast Dealz. In this video, I'll be breaking down the pros and cons of each one and what the testers had to say. First up is OA Beans. OA Beans has now 5 different lists to choose from, but at the time of our testing, there was only 4 different lists to choose from. So they range in price. There's a $48 lima bean one, and then it goes up to $99 most popular. Now, the thing to note about the lima bean one is that's on $48 a week. So that's going to cost you $200, a little over $200 a month if you choose to purchase that one. So just know that. The other great thing about OA beans is they do offer a 3-day money back guarantee, which will come into play here in a second. But just know that everyone except for that weekly one does offer the money back guarantee. The Fayette bean, I don't even know what kind of bean that is. Anyways, that one has 100% ungated, so that might be why it's the most popular, because the other ones are obviously not 100% ungated. It also ranges in how many leads you'll get, from 7 to 10 or 5 to 7 with that one, so you're getting a little bit less leads, but I mean, I don't know, just something to note. It also at the bottom here will tell you how many sellers that they are selling it to, which is good to know. So they have a lot of different lists, and once they fill up and all the seats or spaces fill up on that, another list apparently opens. Now, we tested the pinto bean at $129 a month and the navy bean at $4.99 a month. So if you're in my groups, you probably know Becky and Jan. They help me admin the groups as well as answer seller questions and all that kind of stuff. So Jan tested the pinto bean at $129 and Becky tested the navy bean at $4.99. So Becky said there's a 20% off code that she used, so it was only actually $3.99. Not that big of a savings. I mean, it is a big savings, but it's still an expensive list. But we wanted to know like what the difference was. Was it really worth $400 or $500? We could tell that Jan's list had some of the same items as Becky's list, like literally the same ASIN, exact same product. It was on different days, but still, why are we paying $500 for a product that is also on the cheaper one? So that was a huge red flag. And then when Becky emailed them to cancel on the second day, because again they have that 3-day return period, and we knew by the second day that there was crossover, she let them know why, because they asked, right? The response she got back from them when she let them know why was that this can't be possible. And we knew it was possible, we were seeing it, right? So that is a little weird and kind of a negative against OA beans. Like, we have literal proof we're seeing it, so that's something to note and just know of. But they did allow her the full refund, and she even got a bonus day, so she ended up getting 4 days of leads. So out of the products she purchased, let's break down how it went. Of the 4 days she was subscribed, she was provided with 33 leads, and she purchased 5 of them total, but only 4 were profitable. It is interesting to note that one of the companies she purchased from was a video game that would have been profitable had it not been previously used and in terrible condition. She said getting a refund from that company she purchased for was also super difficult. So, I mean, it's not against the company like OA Beans for providing a company, but it kind of is. If that company is not reputable, probably don't use it in your list. Out of the 33 leads, she said 7 were already sold out, and she said she accessed the list no later than 10 minutes after it was posted. So the leads are promised at 10 a.m. daily, but she did note that it would take about 4 hours for it to fully populate. So the way OA Beans looks is it's an online thing, and there'll be like 2 leads maybe at the start of the day, and by the end of the day all your leads are there. So one of the things you kind of want to watch when you're purchasing online arbitrage leads and leads from a lead list is how many sellers are on it, because if a lot of sellers end up coming on that listing, say you use Keepa, which I highly recommend, and you can see the history of offers in Keepa. If it always had 5 people on it, and now all of a sudden a week, 2 weeks after it's been on this lead list, there's 60 people, but they told you they were only selling it to 30 people, that's kind of something to note. Like, are they really selling it to more people than they say? Is there crossover? If it all of a sudden, after 2 years of only having 5 different offers at a time, has 60, that's a huge red flag. Also, whenever you purchase anything from a lead list, be it my Bolo group or an online lead list, you want to make sure that you are doing your own due diligence. Just because some seller over here said it's worth it, don't just go buy it. You need to scan it like you would if you found it all on your own. See if it makes profit for your business, if the ROI is what you want, if you're happy with it, if the sellers are too many. Everything you need to do your own due diligence, because this is your business that you are running. So just because someone says it's great, that's awesome. Now you know what to look for, but you still need to do your own due diligence once you get it in your hands to decide if you want to purchase it and then how many to purchase. So Becky said she purchased 4 items, well 5 counting that one, so really only 4. The first item, she said 16 sellers were on it the day I purchased it. I received the item 5 days later and it showed 15 sellers. I sent the item in and it was received and available for sale 8 days later. 28 sellers were now on the listing and the price started to slide. 1 week after that, there were 49 sellers and the price had dropped to my break even. And as of mid-February when she wrote this, she had sold 1 of the 4 she purchased and the buy box is currently below break even. Item number 2 had 2 sellers at the time of purchase, 21 at the time her listing became available. It did sell out 2 weeks later at 23% margin and 46% ROI. Item number 3 had 6 sellers at the time of the listing available. All the items sold relatively quickly for 24% margin, 86% ROI. Item number 4, 3 sellers at the time of purchase, over a month later and it's still on back order, so she hasn't even received it, but the ROI is still up high. Asked, would you recommend this to a friend? She said, no, for the price I paid, I expected much better results. The profits of all the items sold didn't even cover the cost of the purchases. On a positive note, the format of it was very neat and tidy and well organized, but the lack of quality leads coupled with the dishonesty, I couldn't help but feel like I was being ripped off. Okay, so how did Jan do with the pinto beans? For the month of January, she got leads for 22 business days because again, it's Monday through Friday. And she said she got on average 9 leads a day because like I mentioned, they include 7 to 10, but they also have bonus leads. With a little over 200 leads a month, she did agree with Becky that some of the leads were already sold out. About 6% of the total of all the leads were already sold out. 4 of the leads she was able to replenish for a time, but she did have some quantity restrictions on the retailer part. So if you've ever shopped on Target.com, you probably know they might limit you to 5, 6, 12. Like they have that limit of how many you can even add to your cart, so that comes into play. Again, it's not OA Beans' fault by any means. You might need to place multiple orders at Target. Of the 50 or so items she purchased throughout the month, 20% of them tanked in price just as fast as she was able to get them in. The rest of her leads are holding up, but they are not selling. Jan agreed with Becky that the site is overall very well organized and easy to use. She said they do utilize IP software, which what they talk about. Now, here's one thing I want to mention because I know some brands, like I said, I saw these lists, so I know some brands that they had on there like Happy Planner. I know that for a fact is an IP brand, but they still made it through. So again, you always have to do your own due diligence whenever you are sourcing a product. Just because they say they have an IP scanner doesn't make it foolproof. You never know what brand is really going to come after you and when. I've sold Happy Planner no problem, but I know other sellers have got that complaint, so just something to note. So even though it says it, you just can't take their word for it. You have to do your own due diligence. So I'm going to say overall, OA Beans, everything is laid out nicely. It's all in a list. You can go back to it anytime. They give you a login and it's like every day you put your login into that new list. So that part of it is really tidy. I mean, if you want to test it out, definitely do the lower end one. Maybe just test the week, but the week doesn't have the 3-day money back guarantee, so you're kind of just out for that one. But I don't know, anything in your business, if you want to try it, you should definitely test it out if you have the funds for it. Test it and see if you like it. Would not recommend the high one, and the fact that they have one for $1,400, $1,500 basically is kind of crazy, so I don't know. Up next is West Coast Dealz. Now I tested them myself, and I'm going to be completely honest that I was traveling all month of January. I went from Oklahoma to Florida and back, and so I didn't place any orders from the list, but I did go through and just kind of use it to see how it was. So just know that I didn't end up purchasing anything from it. Now, one thing that I think is crazy, and I almost didn't sign up for it, is the fact that they call it West Coast Dealz. You don't have to be on the West Coast. Like, it's a bad name choice, I guess. But anyways, it works for anywhere because most of the leads were actually from Walmart or from online stores that you could purchase from anywhere. One thing, I'm going to be completely honest, the way that they represent their brand is it's a little sleazy to me. This, like, the flashy, the color, the showing of money and 6-figure sellers and all that stuff, just it doesn't vibe with me, but I wanted to test it out and see. So their group is run in Discord, which is a totally new to me app. I have never used it before. And if you're familiar with Telegram, it's kind of like that, where they have bots and everything that will post, and it's kind of like automated in that sense. Now, it did take me like 3 days to get up and running, so I purchased it, and then there's like an email that, oh, you'll be in it soon, download the app, and then it kind of takes a couple days to get approved. So just know it's going to take a day or 2 or 3 before you even get approved and see anything in the app. It is $99 a month, and if you do sell on Amazon and eBay, it might be worth it for you because there is a whole different eBay thread. So there's all these different threads, which are kind of confusing, and it took me a while to figure it out. I just kind of stayed in the Amazon one, but I would check out eBay just to see what was there. So there's a bunch of different threads in there. It does not have a spreadsheet, so it's really messy, I think. Like, you see it when it is there, and then you'd have to scroll and find it again, or screenshot it, or make your own list off of it. So it's a lot more work and a little bit messy. Now, on their website, they say they have groups, or their community is 600 plus sellers. I don't know if that's everyone that's in this specific, like, getting all these leads or not. If it is, that's a lot. I don't know if they have a lot of different groups on Facebook, and that's the whole is what they're saying. Not totally sure, but just know that it's not very well organized because you have to scroll and find everything, and it could possibly be oversaturated. Now, maybe because it's not well organized, that means there's less people buying it, because if it's gone and you don't scroll. Not really sure. Here's a couple screen grabs of what it looked like. The first thing is that their profit is not my $5 minimum that I like. Some of the profits were like $2, $3, and when you're doing online arbitrage, you really want more profit on the upfront because the possibility that it's going to tank in price is very high. Also, the format within that month changed of how they do it. So at first it didn't actually include the profit. I had to do the math in my head. Then they changed it. Now, everyone did have a link to Amazon and a link to the website that you would purchase it from, but it was like one bot would post it one way and then another bot started posting it another way. So they're not consistent, which is kind of annoying because when you get used to seeing something, like, you know where to look for it, and then all of a sudden there's a different one. And it's like that today. I took these screenshots just yesterday before I canceled the group. So it's like different throughout the day. It's not, I wish they would just be the same. It's a bot. So the leads that I did check and look, like, they were a couple days old and they still were for sale at the same price, and the Amazon page still looked good. So I will say that if you sell on Amazon and eBay, and it's a little bit of online arbitrage and retail arbitrage, which is good. So I mean, it's a good one to test out for sure. I think, again, like I said, if you have the money, you want to test out anything. I was not a fan of how it was laid out overall, but the leads themselves, they seemed like they might be good. Next up, we have OA Loot. So OA Loot is no longer available, or I couldn't find it anymore. It was by e-commerce empowerment, but those ladies, I believe, sold it or shut it down. And so now I think someone purchased it, but I can't find where it was at. So when Beverly tested it, it was $123 a month. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you her review on it because I think it still is good to have an overall sense of online lead lists from a bunch of different perspectives. So here we go. Beverly said starting with them was not easy, that they didn't like direct her where to go. And so she had to do a couple days of searching on Facebook to find the group. But once she did find it, she was able to log in and get her spreadsheets. She said, I received spreadsheets each weekday, about 10 new leads, and it ended up with about 286 leads for the month. She said there's a disclaimer at the bottom of the lead list that say, leads are optimum for 24 hours due to price fluctuations and in-stock rate, after which time they may be out of stock or price may change. They offered a bunch of different lists to choose from, so there was a toys and games specific, a retail arbitrage specific, a clothing and shoes, and an everyday essential. Beverly chose everyday essentials because she wanted to step up her replen game. From the list, she purchased 40 items, and most of the items tanked in price before I could even get them in. She said this list is probably suited better for someone who wants to focus on merchant fulfilled or FBM. She said, I did list a few FBM and had some luck, but the items that are good money makers are obviously harder to find. She said overall she's profited $237 from the leads that she purchased. All of my items that are not checked in, I know more sales will happen if the price doesn't tank, but I'm expecting more of the tanking. She said this was an experience that she was glad she did, but she would not buy another lead list. She also added this in, which I did not ask for, but it was interesting, so I'm going to let you know here. So she sent me the breakdown of profit for the 30 days using Inventory Lab of leads that she purchased from the Bolo group. So my Bolo group is what she's talking about. Beverly is in the Retail Arbitrage Bolo group, which if you want to join it, the link is below. But she said she has gotten $660 profit from the leads from my Bolo group on the same month, where she's profited $237 from the lead list. So that's cool to know that she is having more luck from the Bolo group leads than from a lead list leads. Like I said, online arbitrage is trickier because anyone can get out there and buy it. Okay, next up we have the Happy Hustlers list, which Michael tested for us. This list is $125 a month and it gives you about 20 leads a day, and it does say that it's limited to 50 members. So they have right here broken out for you that the minimum return on investment is 30%, the minimum profit is 5%, and the minimum estimated sales per month is 25. So obviously that varies by that's giving you an estimate of the rank, right? So it has to be a certain rank in certain categories to be able to sell that month. So that's just another way of telling you that they should be ranked to be selling at least 25 units a month. Now that ROI, 30%, is pretty low. And that's an online arbitrage lead list. That's even too low for me, because it's probably going to drop in price like we mentioned. So that ROI is right there, kind of a red flag that I probably wouldn't sign up for this list. But let's break down what Michael had to say about the leads. Michael said it was easy to use. You log in every day and you could download the file with the leads. Again, another file-based one, which is awesome. He said he did best with the pet category. And now this is just my personal observation and assumptions based off what I know what was going on in the world of Amazon and retail arbitrage. So pet category, there was a shortage on pet food. And if you watched my video a couple weeks ago, I mentioned there's a shortage going on right now, and it is pet food. It's kind of picking back up again, and the shortage is no longer. So just be careful if you're out there scanning, don't go too deep in it. But there was a crazy shortage of pet food and it was going for a lot of money. So that might be one reason why he did better in pet food. But again, if he hadn't seen this lead list, maybe he would have not known about it. So there's all those, give and takes on it. But in general, pet category was really well during the last 3 months. He said he tried to get a lot of different products and categories, but the prices kept tanking really quickly and the leads on the pet category were stable. The Happy Hustlers also run a Discord group, which he said was pretty dead. He said nobody was sharing anything, and that type of channel, usually you have a lot of helpful questions and situations back and forth, but it was not the case here. He also said sometimes he felt like the leads were kind of old because when he would check them on the store, they had been sold out for a while. He also came across 5 products that could have given him a potential IP claim. And here's my biggest problem with what he said about the list. He said that the listings did not match. So what they would put on their sheet was different than the Amazon product page listing, and that is a huge red flag. It would be different sizes, different ounces, possibly different scents or flavors, and that can't be the case, right? We have to have matching items. I can't sell this on this listing if it doesn't match exactly. And so if I'm paying for a lead list and they're giving me something that doesn't match, that means they're not doing their own little work on the other end. That's what I could get doing tactical arbitrage on my own. So it kind of feels like if that's the case, that they're just kind of putting out there without doing any kind of double checking beforehand, which is to me a red flag. He also said that 30 to 40% of the items he was shared, the profits differed about 40% of the time. Again, huge red flag. Like, it should match. It should, if you're saying it's this, then it should be that. Obviously prices are gonna fluctuate, but it should match in the list that you're given. So overall on this one, I'm gonna put this one at the very bottom and say it's a meh. Test it if you want, but I would probably test out some of the other ones. The last one we tested is FBA Buy List, and Arlene tested this one for us. Now it's interesting to note that she signed up for the waitlist in May and she didn't get approved till January to be on it. So it just happened to work out that it opened up for her right when we were doing this whole testing. So just something to note that you might want to sign up for the waitlist now, even if you're just considering it, because it's currently waitlisted. Arlene said she's getting 10 leads a day with at least 50% ROI. The worksheet is user-friendly and it includes all the Amazon links with the ASINs of where to purchase it. She said it's easy to maneuver around, and she's been trying to order 2 products a day to get a shipment on a daily basis. She said what she likes about it is she's able to use it as branch leads. So looking at this one product that they shared and then looking for like items, which I always recommend to make the most out of any lead list, and how I always recommend people to do it in the Bolo group is to, if someone shares this product by this brand, I'm going to look at that brand and all the different products they have, right? Or if they share something from a store I've never been to, well, I'm going to go source that store and check out the other products. So just something to note that you always want to use that as a lead list. Otherwise, you're kind of cutting out the best parts of it. She says, overall, I've boosted my ROI for the last 3 or 4 weeks using the list to about 70%, and she's working towards 100%. Arlene works full-time, and so she's doing this as a part-time, and so she likes that she's able to do it and use her time wisely. So now she's able to source online during the week, and then she still does retail arbitrage on Saturdays, giving her Sundays off, which is awesome. So out of those 5 lists, like I said, I only saw 2 for myself. So Just know that I'm giving you information from the community back to you just to give you a better picture and answer the question, are lead lists worth it? I hope this video was helpful and you enjoyed it. Please let me know honestly if it was enjoyable or not, and I would love to do more of these, testing different aspects of things in the Amazon world. So let me know if you liked it. Go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you back here for another Amazon selling video.